Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. So Raw finished tonight. Another great, and really solid episode. Women main evented the show. We've gotten a couple of additions to Saturday night's main event. I mean, CM Punk's gonna wrestle on CM Punk and Sami Zayn are gonna face Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker at Saturday night's main event. That's pretty freaking cool. That whole angle is really developed. And now we've got some intrigue of maybe will there be a third man. So one thing I want to do here based off of the whole Raw thing is like there was a post from a former pro wrestler on the internet basically said we live in a time where wrestling from every era and promotion is more accessible than ever. If you only watch WWE, you don't love pro wrestling, you love WWE. Okay. Listen, what I'm getting sick and tired of is what is professional wrestling. And okay, what define like this whole where the best wrestle and AEW is a better wrestling company than WWE. Okay. One thing that I've really grown sick and tired of in this entire saga of tribalism, whether it be one fan base or the other or how you feel about one or the other, I watch WWE and I watch AEW. And, yes, AEW annoys me because part of what makes pro wrestling great is when you actually have stories combined with the matches to heighten the drama. And I talk about this constantly on this segment. And so when I see posts like this from a former pro wrestler who should understand better than anybody that, hey, it's not just about the matches that draw interest, it's about the characters and the stories that you tell across weekly television. These are episode. This is episodic television we're talking about. Like if you don't have hooks from week to week, there's no reason for the audience to come back. And I've talked about this extensively. AEW, specifically since CM Punk left, has really alienated a lot of their fan base because, well, at least they've catered to like the sickos, which is all they really care about. But they've alienated the casual wrestling fans, and that's where this tweet comes in. Is like, okay, hey, if you don't love pro wrestling, then don't watch AEW. It's like, yeah, well, here's the thing: AEW hasn't adapted to what pro wrestling really is. And yes, in a lot of ways, what WWE does is sports entertainment, but they do good wrestling. They absolutely do good wrestling. Have you not seen some of the matches that they have put on? Look at what happened at Backlash. Yes, there was a good example of good wrestling, but there was also good entertainment matches that weren't going to be 5-star classics, but you were entertained and engaged to the point where you want to watch and see these people. That's what gets people to pay money, go buy merchandise and go buy tickets to events. And yes, WWE events are way overpriced right now, but that's because they are white hot and people are interested. AEW, on the other hand, is so stuck in this mindset of, okay, we've got to deliver banger after banger after banger. And they don't have Sheamus to do that. So they got to deliver bangers all over the place. And none of them mean any lick of sense. I saw a fatal 4-way or a 4-way eliminator match where they're just throwing Mina Shirakawa, who we know, but we're throwing her into a 4-way eliminator match. And, she's a very interesting character and a very interesting, personality to have in the women's division. But you're just sort of no build whatsoever. You're just throwing them into random matches. There's no reason to care. It's just, hey, she's out there. Or, hey, Samoa Joe wins a match over Jon Moxley. Hey, he's getting a world title match, even though we know he's not winning. It's these little things that bother me. And then when fans of AEW just come out consistently and are like, hey, if you don't like AEW, basically more or less what that post said is, hey, if you don't like AEW, you don't like pro wrestling. What? Because that begs the question, what is pro wrestling? And it's like, yeah, it's about the matches, but it's also, like I said, and what a lot of people in this community continue to harp on when it comes to AEW is you got to have compelling stories and angles. It's like, okay, great. You brought in Kevin Knight. You brought in Speedball Mike Bailey. What are the stories here? And then when we get to Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega, we're basically hinging off of a story that has been started in another company and they've had millions of matches already. And then your top angle in that company is John Moxley and the Death Riders, who nobody cares about and nobody wants to see. So even the stories that they're telling aren't good. So it's just I get irritated when things get represented a certain way. And people think maybe that I am a WWE like cultist, or I'm a fed drone or whatever the hell, or I'm getting paid by WWE. It's like that's not true. Like I always try to be honest here, and I was as big of a fan when AEW came to the forefront years ago. They brought and you want to know what stories really hooked me in? Hangman Page's rise to power and rise to prominence. You remember that? When, he lost to Jericho, he has that whole, drinking phase that he went through, falling out with the Elite and, beating Kenny Omega for the world title. That's the type of stuff that I was looking for. When Hangman was teaming with Kenny Omega and facing off against the Young Bucks, there was a great story there that they were feeding into. Where the hell is that gone? A lot of that's gone. They've just gone away from, consistent stories. MJF, CM Punk. That was great stuff. Even when you had like the four pillars, even though all of them have kind of fallen in or out of favor one way or the other. Like Cody Rhodes, like in his early days of AEW, that was interesting when he had that first match at Double or Nothing against his brother. Like the stories are just not, they've not been AEW's thing, and people act like I'm just disrespecting it. I was like, I'm telling you, I've been a day one AEW person because what WWE was putting out around the time that AEW launched was shit. They had some good wrestling matches in. Their stories were terrible, and most of the finishes just did not please the fans. And yes, there was a bad finish at WrestleMania, but still, in large chunks, WWE is still a good pro wrestling product. And just because, you only like WWE, it's like they are a wrestling product. Yes, they are more geared towards the entertainment side of things, but that also makes their matches that much better. Look at what happened main event of night one. Who would have main event of night one? That was great wrestling and great storytelling with, Punk and Roman and Rollins and Paul Heyman. That was great. And then you extend it to the triple threat to start night two with the women. Even if it was a weakish kind of story, they had a really compelling wrestling match that was outstanding, maybe the best one of the whole weekend. So I don't get these people that are just trying to just like, hey, WWE's not a wrestling product. What? It means you just are so far down and so disillusioned outside of you were mad about WWE. You still think Vince McMahon's running it, or you still think there's Vince McMahon, like, remnants left of it. And, you can't get over yourself. And it's just like, and then it's just, I don't get it, man. And it's like to see like, actual people who have been in the business or, have covered the business for a long time, just like, trying to discredit some of the things that WWE has done. It's annoying. It's really annoying. And like that post kind of jumped out at me. I was like, man, do you guys really read what you're talking about? AEW clearly is trying to do entertainment things in some aspects. It's not very good. And that's why they're in the shithole right now. And they give all the power to their superstars. How's that working out for you? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.